Well, welcome to See Hear Love. I'm your host, Melinda, and we're glad you joined us today. He was just 36 years old when he died in a small plane crash off the coast of the Dominican Republic on October 17th, 2016. He had his whole life ahead of him and is remembered for his tireless humanitarian work in some of the poorest regions of the world. Benjamin Cole Brown's mom is here with us today to share her story, and for the very first time on television, of her loss, grief, faith, hope, and legacy. So let's welcome Katie.
Thank you very much.
Katie, it's good to have you here.
It's a pleasure.
How are you doing today?
Really good, really good. I'm honored to be here, and anytime I can talk about Benjamin Cole Brown is an honor for me.
What was he like?
Oh, how long do we have?
A mama bragging about her son.
I'll
We
tell
love
you,
that.
you know,
yeah.
it's a funny thing, actually, girls, because you can ask anybody aside from his mom who knew him, and strangers, and my inbox and my everything was full to capacity when we got the call, when it started to filter out that there had been an accident. Cole was definitely very, very unique. He was a leader. He was a trailblazer. He was a humanitarian. He was a very gifted photographer. He was very humble, and he was very quiet. He was also model material, so I had to throw that in.
Yeah, he was actually
Very handsome.
very handsome.
Very handsome. I had to back away my own girlfriend and say, "Settle down, lady. Settle down." He was an amazing individual. He was loved wherever he went. Through this whole course of the last couple of years, I have ran into more people that have cried and said, he was my best friend. And I can tell you, if that happened once, it happened 1,000 times. He was very well loved, admired, respected very much. And the communities he worked in, they have street names put up in his honor. And they have, there's a restaurant in one of the communities, Nuevo Renacer, in Maria's Kitchen. And thanks to Boston Pizza, there was a wall of pictures of Benjamin Cole Brown.
Wow.
And so he has left a phenomenal and is still leaving a very phenomenal
Amazing.
legacy, for sure.
Yeah, amazing. Wow.
Can you tell us a little bit about what it was like growing up with Cole in the home, and what kind of led him to his humanitarian work in the DR and Dominican Republic, I should say, and Haiti?
He was very, very gentle. He was very, you know, I've got video of him, thank God that I have it, of him being a G.I. Joe in the park, in our little park in York where we live, and he's scouring the ground and he's talking to himself about, okay, they're coming over there. Okay, watch, what's happening over there? And I mean, he just loved that.
Yeah.
And gadgetry. And, but he was a little boy that I could have said, Cole, sit on that chair and do not move. He literally would have sat on that chair for 7 hours till I came back.
Oh, wow.
He was very obedient. He also took piano at a very young age and was an accomplished pianist as well.
Wow.
So
So then
his
for
other-
humanitarian work, so how did he get to
So
the Dominican Republic?
he
and Haiti?
actually married young and lived in downtown Hamilton, and he started flipping condos. And he discovered that he really liked style and design, and he bought a condo and he gutted it and he redid it. And I wanted to live there. That's how beautiful the condo was. I mean, he's just amazing when it came to design. He then met an organization in Hamilton called Live Different.
Okay.
And they invited him to come down as a volunteer. And he did that, and he started to get a feel and a realization that it was only by the luck of the draw that he was born in Canada.
Yeah.
And they were born in third world countries. And it hit him like a ton of bricks. And it wasn't long, he got on board with Live Different and became their manager over operations for the Dominican Republic and Haiti.
Okay. And this was this building?
So they would build homes
Okay.
for poor people in different communities in the Dominican Republic. Cole had such a love and a passion for Haiti once he went over there, that he and Franco, we call Franco his Haitian brother, they decided they wanted to build a school for
awesome. Yeah.
in a community, a small community called Calvaire, where nobody had ever been educated before this time. And they did that. They bought a piece of property. Today, we have the most beautiful school overlooking the ocean. We have just under 400 children that are in their beautiful green and yellow uniforms. All their books, teachers, we pay for them all. And they get one meal a day now, every day of the
Incredible.
week
I feel like
that
I
we
need to
do.
applaud
Yeah,
that.
it's
It's so
amazing.
beautiful.
So-
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know if you know this, Kate. So, accomplished piano player, my brother and Cole used to play in a band together.
Yes.
When I was just a wee kid, and yes, I was like a little girl drooling over Cole.
You were on that list.
You're on the list.
But I was only like 9.
Okay,
so-
well then.
But I don't know if you know this, but my husband and I were actually on a humanitarian trip with World Vision the day that Cole's plane went down in the Dominican.
I did not know that, no. I
And,
did not know that.
Steve and I were standing at the ocean, and I got a text from my brother and my mom at the same time. And they
Wow.
said, please pray. Cole's plane has gone down. They cannot find him. And that was it. And then I wasn't able to respond or reach them because the connection was so shoddy. But yeah, we were there that day. And it was just,
I did not know that, Brooke. Wow.
yeah. And so, yeah, I remember looking at the water and the waves and being like,
Yeah.
how could you? Like, and it was
yeah.
just such a powerful moment. But I wanted to ask you, like, what happened on that day?
So, you know, it's a funny thing. You hear about this happening to other people. It's never going to happen to you. Well, I just listened recently to a wonderful TED Talk, and it was on grief. And, you know, we could get into a whole thing on just grief alone. But 100% of us are going to die. And we don't always think about that or realize
yeah.
that or
Love
plan
that.
It's
for
inevitable,
that.
Yeah.
It's-
right?
That's
Yes.
right. That's right. So we're all going to lose somebody close to us. But again, you never think it's going to be you, and you never think it's going to be one of your children. And I was actually, our washing machine had broke, and I went to the laundromat. And it was about 11:30 in the morning, of course, being the next morning, the Tuesday, the 18th of October, 2016. And I remember my phone rang, and I looked at it, and it said Ryan Wood. And I knew right away. I knew that there was no reason under the sun that Ryan would be calling me unless there was a problem. So I answered the phone and I just said, Ryan, do not tell me that something has happened. And he hesitated and he said, Katie, he said, Cole was in a small plane and he was very gentle with that. And he said, the plane is missing at this point in time. We haven't been able to locate. So with that, you right away think that there's a 90% possibility that you have lost your son. And so my home quickly filled up with people I didn't even know. Live Different is a phenomenal organization. Their heart is in what they do. They have such a love and a passion for people. Yeah. I had all the board members come from Manitoba, from all over, who I'd never met. I mean, my house, Boston Pizza, oh my goodness. Cole worked so closely with Cheryl at Boston Pizza, the owner of Boston Pizza. Food was in my house for the next 2 days. It was just phenomenal how they came, they rallied, they took us all down there. And again, being, you know, a third world country, their heart is in it. There's not a lot of resources.
Right.
But the instant the news went out, a lot of people that knew Cole, that had money, had planes, had boats, went out privately. So there were private helicopters, there were private yachts,
So
there
they
were
couldn't
boats.
find the plane at first? Is that what happened?
We have never located them or the plane to this day. So what happened was, and Cole knew, you know, it's funny because there's a little bit of a mystery there. Cole had a policy never to fly after 3 o'clock in the afternoon because he was in a plane one time and they were responsible for a group, and there was enough turbulence that he said, that's not going to happen. We're not going to fly at night. We're not going to fly after 3 in the afternoon. He went with very good friends, Chuck and Candy, who own Monkey Jungle, and they did humanitarian work as well.
Yeah.
And they were just leaving on the Monday morning. They were taking medical supplies to victims of Hurricane Matthew.
Wow.
They were going to drop them off. They were going to come back, and Cole was going to go about his business for the rest of the week. They left in the morning. They got detained for about 2 hours in Puerto Plata with paperwork. And so it was Chuck's plane. He had only had it about 6 months. It was a 125 Laker, I believe. It was a very heavy plane. The engine sat on the top. And he had only, as I say, had flown it. It was an amphibious plane. And I think he was still learning about the plane, maybe himself.
And who was in the plane? Was it
And
Chuck?
Chuck, his
Chuck's
wife, and his wife never flew with them
And
because of their business. And this one day, because they were seeing special needs children, and she knew that they were only going to do a quick back and forth, she said, yeah, I want to go. And they had recovered. So anyway, leaving, they were 2 hours detained.
Yeah.
Then coming back, in the Caribbean, you can fly into an electrical storm, like fly right into it. You can leave like sunny skies and fly into a storm,
Yeah, that's
and not have a lot of warning.
Yeah.
But when they left, it was October, so starting in the rainy season, so anything could happen. And they left about 5, 6 o'clock. We figure between 6 and 7, they were 5 miles out from the airstrip. They could see the airstrip.
To land.
To land.
They could
And
see, and they were coming in, and people actually, we've had eyewitness accounts who saw the plane, realized the plane was in a little bit of trouble, and the plane was in trouble, and we don't know, it's just all guessing what happened, whether he tried to make a second run by going out into the water, and that plane could have, if the wing hit, the whole thing would have just.
Right.
But
Katie, can I just say, first of all, our condolences.
thank you.
Yes.
to
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm listening to this story, and my heart is breaking wide open. I'm trying to,
Yep.
pull it together. I have to celebrate your strength. You are so strong.
Thank you.
And
I have my moments.
I know. And,
Well, you're doing really well right
You're
now.
doing
Yeah.
so well, and that resilient spirit. I think we need to ask you, how did you journey from there to here? What did that look like for us to see this strong, resilient mother today?
Yeah, well, if you had ever, it's a good job we don't know the future. It really is. And God has designed it that way
Yeah.
because we'd all be out of our minds.
Yeah, right.
Right?
Yeah,
If you know
actually
that
right.
something's going to happen down the road,
Yes.
you cannot function and live your life. And but if someone had said to me, Katie, this is what's going to happen, I would have laid on that floor right there, and I would have begged God for anything in the whole world but that. And that wasn't the case. It actually happened. It's always surreal.
Yeah.
It's like I've never been shot with a shotgun to the chest, but I can well imagine, because the hole it leaves is pretty big and pretty deep, and much deeper than I think we even realize. You think you're fine, and getting back to this TED Talk. It's so important to talk about our people.
Yeah.
He's intertwined in my whole life, my whole family.
So that's been
Yeah.
a big healing part of
That
the
has
journey.
been-
Is just
That has
sharing.
been when Cole was a little boy. I raised him with the verse out of Mark 8:38, I believe it is, and it's, "What shall it profit a man if he gain the whole world and yet lose his own soul?" And I remember that being so important, and thus I end up with a man that has dedicated his life. I mean, he could have been a model in Toronto, right? He could have flipped homes for a living, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he chose to take his camera into broken down shacks where nobody really should have to live and spend the night, because he wanted to know what it was like to stand in ankle deep water and to stand in that overnight.
What an incredible young man.
And, so the loss is huge.
Yeah.
It's enormous. it broke my heart that we couldn't get him out of the water. That really, you know, the biggest question for me was, how am I going to live without seeing him again?
Yes.
That's
How,
big. Yeah,
you know,
yeah, that is.
And
that's
many,
big.
many people, and I really felt that many people are saying the same thing. And I think what you're about to share is going to change lives.
Yes,
Yeah.
you know, and I thought that is the hardest thing. How do I not pick up the phone
Yeah.
and have him want me to talk and entertain him for an hour on the phone?
Right.
Because he would like to talk and he never liked to talk about himself. But Mom, how are you? What's going on? You know.
Yeah.
But I got home and I love the New American Standard, and I had opened it up in Psalm 139. I think it's 9 to 14 in there. Talks about, because it bothered me so much that they went down in the ocean and we could not get them out of the water. And I just had to totally know, which I've always known since I became a Christian in 1985, that he holds us
Absolutely.
right there
Yeah,
Yes,
Katie.
in the palm of our hand.
Yeah.
And nothing he lets or takes or does
Yeah.
goes past him, around him, over him, or under him.
So good.
And it says, Lisa, there that even in the depths,
Yeah.
right?
The
even in
uttermost
the
parts,
darkest
yeah.
sea, the darkest part of the sea, your hand is not only do you reach me in the darkest part of the sea, but it's not dark to you.
Oh my
It's
goodness.
Oh,
light.
wow, Katie.
So
So
he was
that-
never hidden from God's eyes.
God,
Yeah.
God saw him.
So
and God
good.
sees him.
And not only did he see him,
He
he
reached
reached
and
him
lifted him.
and brought him out.
So good.
And I left that wide open. And every day. And my pastor came over, and I remember showing Steve, and he said, I have never noticed that before.
So good.
And then I went on, and I was reading, I turned the page, but I was reading on the other side, I think it was 14, and at verse 14, and it said how we're wonderfully made.
Yeah.
But it says, and our soul knows
Knows
it.
it. Yeah. Wow.
And he always knew. He always knew who made him, who held him, who he was accountable to,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
good.
and that his life was definitely in his hands.
You know, Katie, this is great because, you know, as Cheryl's mentioning about, you know, kind of journeying through the grief and loss, you're just quoting scriptures as these truths that are carrying you. And actually, when you said that about God into the sea and seeing and lifting, I've never actually got that before.
Yeah.
But isn't that amazing that his word, the scriptures, can speak to us that personally to give us that kind of hope and assurance?
Yes.
Yeah.
And when you need
Oh.
it most, right?
That just encourages, that has really encouraged me. And you know, what's really important for our show is to encourage viewers and listeners with story, but also the promises and truths of God.
Yes.
And you're just like, woo, girl,
Yeah,
like you were
gushing
just
it out.
bringing that
Feel
to
Jesus
I totally feel
with you
Jesus.
while you're speaking. Like I can feel that off of you,
Yeah.
and like
Yeah.
that's what the word
know.
promises, that He would be with you, right? And so
Yeah.
we can feel that.
Yeah.
The sooner really, and I learned it when I became a Christian, but you know, they're your babies, they're your kids, and you're a mama bear, and you always want to protect them and keep them safe and do whatever for them that you possibly can.
Yeah.
But the sooner we actually do open our hands and allow that release, the easier our lives are going to be.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, although I miss him with all my heart, I wear proudly that's his actual signature.
Oh.
Can they get that?
And I wear that proudly.
I'm like, I need the camera guys to get that one. Okay, there we go.
Oh, so
Wow.
I wear that proudly because I can always hug him.
good. Yeah.
I can always hug him and keep him really close. But the sooner we do let go, and at the end of the day, that's where our rest is. There's only, we think we're in control. We're not in control of a minute.
No.
We're really not.
right.
You know, we plan, and we need to plan, and that's very important. But we do need to ultimately know, and I know in my heart, that my son is in the best possible place.
Yes.
And we've talked about this several times, that, you know, the minute I see him again when we're reunited, because that's what keeps you going. You know that
Absolutely.
as
That's our
a
hope.
Christian,
That is
Yeah.
our hope.
that is our hope and our faith
Yeah.
that says,
Yeah.
it's not over when
Yeah.
it's over.
Yeah.
You know,
Amen.
we have eternity. And, you know, we've talked about how when we see him, we're going to say, so what exactly happened?
Yeah.
And then we've realized, no, when we see him, none of that will even matter.
So
that
good.
question will not even come up.
So good. Katie, you know what? We're going to transition now to our co-host Joanna, who has a scripture that it's an encouraging verse for those that are grieving a loss of a child. Now, you gave a lot of great scripture, but we have one that Joanna's going to share. That's this one. The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit, from Psalm 34:18. Let's go to Joanna now.
Thanks so much, Mel. I hope everyone is being really encouraged by the conversation we're having on the show today with Katie. It's reminding of this verse as she's talking about the loss of her son, this verse in Psalm 34, verse 18. The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. Is that where you're at today? Are you feeling brokenhearted? Maybe you've recently gone through a loss, a breakup, a disappointment. Maybe you didn't get a job that you wanted, or you lost a job that you had, or you've lost material things that you had loved, or people have come and gone from your life. There's lots of things that can cause a broken heart for us. And maybe that's where you're at today, feeling this crushed in spirit. I want to encourage you, as the scripture says, that the Lord is close to you. Actually, he is as close as your next breath. His presence is with you as you go through brokenheartedness. And how do we know this? Because you see the verse, it said he is that when we are crushed in spirit, that actually he is crushed with us. We see that in Isaiah. I want to remind you of this prophecy of what Jesus would be. It said, he was pierced for our transgressions, he was crushed for our iniquities. The punishment that brought us peace was on him, and by his wounds we are healed. That's Isaiah 53, verse 5. What an amazing God. There's no other God like him that came down to our level, crushed for us, not just crushed for us, but crushed with us. He is brokenhearted alongside us. He weeps when we weep. He grieves when we grieve. His presence is a constant and secure hope in our life. We have hope and security. And I think you see that in the story of Katie on today's show, that she has hope and life that is secure because God is near to her even as she grieves. May God bless you today as you walk through what you're going through in life. Know that God is with you, he sees you, and he loves you.
Well, thanks, Joanna, for the promise that the Lord is close to the brokenhearted. Thank you so much for your words. Now, we have been eyeing these leather pieces the whole show, Katie.
That's good. That's
this
a good
is,
thing.
I'm just simple as that, like this. I've been eyeing
wanna
this
know
one,
how
going,
you got
check
that
this
one.
out. And
That's the
this
one.
relates to the whole story because this is all about legacy.
Yeah.
And what do we do in the midst of grief and loss and pain? How can we redeem a situation to something amazing and good? And I think this obviously is part of it.
For sure.
All
for
right,
sure.
tell us about it.
That's exactly how we felt. Cole, not only, this is a beautiful book that Live Different put together for him in honor of his life, called The Love Legacy. And it showcases Cole as a humanitarian, as a photographer. He did all the photography work, very gifted. You can go to Benjamin Cole on Instagram, see a gallery of his beautiful, beautiful work. We're going to start doing art gallery showings and selling his prints eventually. And being a social enterprise, we are going to give back to his work, of course.
Yeah.
Because now, just prior to the accident, there's a piece of property above the school where we are now building a safe house for young girls taken into slavery and trafficking. And that is well underway now, and we will be supporting that. Everything. We look
Yeah, talk to us about this.
Yes, so the leather was the last thing Cole was working on. He started designing leather pieces for himself, for his own travel. He would get stopped on a lot of WestJet flights or American Airlines, and they would ask him where he got his bag. And he was so excited, he'd say, Mom, they're asking me where I got my bag. How many
Okay, hold
bags
on.
do
I'm
they
going to have it
see?
ready like model. Pick up yours
So,
there,
okay, so we've got a
Lisa.
traveler
I need one.
here.
Oh, yeah,
need
here's
one.
one here, then this one.
We've got the toiletry / makeup bag for ladies.
Pick it up.
I have
this.
Do you?
Brooke
Okay.
has that.
I
This is
need
a
this.
wristlet.
This is what I need.
That is our
Wristlet.
classic clutch.
Oh, the clutch and wristlet. Yeah,
The
okay.
story
Look
was
what you're
featured
wearing.
in WestJet's magazine. So
Wow.
after his launch, he missed his own launch, sadly, by 2 weeks. We looked at the leather and we said, no, Cole, we're going to continue. This is far, far too beautiful to let it go. and Mama Bear and the brothers are coming together, and Papa Bear, and we're going to take over.
Where can we find all
Yeah,
this
we
great
need to know where
stuff?
we can get all this stuff.
So you can go to the website. We're in the process of shipping now. Finally, that's quite the adventure. So I source the leather there. We have it made in the Dominican Republic, shipping it to Canada, and you can go to the website. You can order it.
And it's not
Cambio
just for
goods.
women, because our cameraman / floor director, Kelvin, just said to me, I want that bag, the front bag.
Yeah, that's so good.
And I was like, oh, so it's really for like men and women, which is
and they have like
fantastic.
guitar
Oh
straps.
yeah, my
or
husband has a guitar strap, a Cambio guitar
Yes.
strap that he
Yeah.
wears every
So
time.
why is this so important? Like, these are beautiful goods, but who's making this, and why is this so connected with Cole? Like, I know that this was, he started.
Yes. Yes, so he wanted to employ people in the Dominican Republic.
Okay.
He met craftsmen, he saw their gifts, their talents, their skills. He came alongside and gave them just a bit of a more broader appeal to the North American audience.
Okay.
And we looked at them and went, and and I kid you not, every time I've got a piece or anybody sees them, they're like, okay, where did you get that? Like, what is that? We have everything from passport wallets. She's already.
I'm already ready. Okay, you know that I'm walking away
I'm
with this.
imagining what makeup is going in
Yeah,
this
exactly.
bag.
Oh my gosh, we have a good, and we have card holders and passport wallets.
It's amazing.
The website is cambiogoods.com.org.
I
we
love
own
it.
them both.
What does
Okay.
Cambio mean?
Yeah.
Cambio means change, and that's what Paul was trying to
Awesome.
bring about.
Yep.
Change.
cute.
So we employ
back to
Jose and about 10 to 12 young men, and the condition is that they finish school, and Jose helps them to do
Well
that, and then we sell it there as well.
Yeah.
And
How do you see this as a God thing? Like, I mean, when we're talking about, because, you know, people are like, we've been through loss and grief, and then to take something, it's a legacy. But the God part of it all, for people are like, can I do something like that? What can I take in memory of? What would you say? What's the advice you would give?
you know, just don't let people die. You know, they're not here physically. They don't have to die. I will talk to anybody about Cole any given moment of the day because he was such a
Their name
phenomenal
lives on.
individual.
Yeah, I love that.
And even his name, Benjamin Cole Brown. I mean, it's such a beautiful name, you know? And I don't mean to, but, you know, no, be proud. Be proud of when we lose somebody, continue to love them. We hope to honor him in every possible way, through his photography, through his humanitarian. We just got back on a bill. My son and I and two friends, we went and we built 2 homes for 10 days. So we just got back on my birthday, April 1st. We came back. Nice. And we will continue to do that and continue.
Beautiful.
And all of his work, Live Different, everybody is continuing, and we're so proud of all the work.
Amazing.
And
Isn't that like a
Amazing.
way
Thank
to
you so much.
transform the grief into something powerful?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Incredible.
And just to honor everything, we look at it this way. You know what? You had to stop, but we don't have to.
Yeah.
We can continue where you left off
Yeah.
and just make you really proud. And
Well, we're
Amazing.
thankful that
Thank
you
you
did.
so
Honor his
much.
stuff.
Thank
That
you,
you
Katie.
did.
Thank you,
Thank
girls.
you.
We're
Thank
walking
you.
away with some of these, but we'll pay you. We're not walking away, but we are paying you. So thank you for your courage and your inspiration.
Thank you
to
for
us,
having me.
To so
Thank
many
you.
others, and we honor you and
Thank you.
and Cole's legacy. So
It's-
thank you
it's
so
a
much.
pleasure.
And to our viewers, if you are struggling with grief and loss, we hope Katie's story and the promise of God gives you encouragement for today and then for tomorrow and the day after. We're here for you. Send us a message on our website, and always know through some of the darkest moments of your life that you are loved and you are seen, heard, and loved by the God who reaches down into the sea and brings you up. Bye-bye. Deeks Insurance is a proud sponsor of the See Hear Love Studio.